How's it going? So we initially took this project, which is by the people making the new road from Peterborough to London. There you go. It initially looked like a really fun data mining and machine learning project, but it turned out to be more of a sadistic data cleaning project. Thankfully, after speaking to various members of other teams at the pub yesterday, they also had big problems with it, which made me feel much better about myself. So at the last minute, after various team members mysteriously disappeared to other teams, at the last minute we've joined two teams together, and luckily we were both studying different parts of the problem, so it's kind of a two-parter now. I'll pass you over to Hassan.
Yeah, so I've looked into some of the data statistics. So when we're trying to do the analysis of the data set, we discovered some of the anomalies and that were resolved, so we get updated data sets. But one of the main things that, as I work as a project controls person, so one of the main things is we try to investigate what's happening between the different data dates in order to show how the project is moving along. And we're comparing the activity early start and late start dates, and we can see that most of the stuff is moving on the right so of the curve, which means that there are some erosion of float, and that was proven by having like a float tracker or a float erosion curve, which is just like an average. It's not an accurate measure, but however it shows an indication that we are eroding the float over time. The chart below here is comparing the activities complete versus activities remaining, and what activities in progress is in the middle side. And that activity shows that the level of activities happening on site is quite consistent, and the remaining activities are being reduced, so it makes sense of the data. The next one is about the actual activity spread, and that's what actually has been achieved over time. And you can see that it can only be before the data date where the report is produced. This one is about the budget and the actual spend and the forecast, and it's splitting them by series, which is part of the type of work, and by section of works. And the charts in here show that like 50% of the remaining works are in three main categories, which are paving, earthworks, and overheads and overheads. One interesting thing that we were thinking about when we were investigating this data, that we have February so January and February 2019 with a very high achievement, which I think it was around 25 million, and then it dropped to 3 to 5 million within March and April. And the interesting bit that earthworks on these 2 months were very high, which usually in the winter time, where it's raining, that we don't achieve a lot of the earthworks, but it dropped significantly in March and April. We didn't find quite right what were the main reasons for that, but that's what we got from this data. And the final, we have the remaining resource, and that's correlated exactly with what we have from the previous data. So the remaining resource from the program correlates with the information that we have from the forecast data, which is quite good. And then, and this is the forecast data, which correlates to the previous slides that we were talking about. So the same categories of the remaining with almost the same percentage of contribution to the to the end of the project. And that's it for me.
So do we have any accountants in the room? Just me? Oh, great. So obviously it's about financial forecasting. So we forecast from the whole data set. We just focused on. We tried to do some time series analysis, but the data set didn't allow us to do that. So we looked at across two other dimensions. We had section, which was basically the geography. So we had sections of the road being planned, and what this is showing us is we're trying to look at the variance between the actual and the forecast. The idea being that the teams wanted to look at the difference in the forecasting and ideally be within plus or minus 5%. And as you can see, well, we're probably not really doing that such a good job. But they're going to hit the project on time and on budget, by the way, anyway. And then the last one was just looking at variances. So this was what we did. We looked at the top 5 work breakdown structures, and equates to about 78% of the total. And so you can see where these are the big wins. These are the areas we really need to focus in and look in to make any things where the difference is going to be. Okay.